Hello everyone, I'm Jessica Hu. Today I'll be analyzing the butterfly effect through the debate between B.F. Skinner's determinism and Scribner's critique of it. Alright, let's begin with B.F. Skinner. He is a psychologist and behaviorist known for the theory of behaviorism. This is a theory that explains how behavior is shaped by consequences, specifically reinforcement and punishment. Reinforcement can be divided to two parts. One is positive reinforcement. It occurs when a reward is added to encourage a behavior, while negative reinforcement occurs when removing something unpleasant to increase behavior as well. On the other hand, punishment decreases behavior. Ultimately, Skinner's core belief was that free will is an illusion, and all human actions are the result of past conditioning, not independent choice. So why did Skinner believe that behavior is entirely determined? According to him, every action a person takes is entirely shaped by their reinforcement history. Because all behavior results from past experiences, humans do not truly choose their actions, but instead respond to conditioning. And Skinner himself said, behavior is shaped and maintained by its consequences. We can think about a student who studied hard, and according to Skinner, the student is not choose to do it. It is because he or she is reinforced by maybe good grades, praise, or scholarship. Yeah, so their behavior is a predictable outcome of these positive reinforcement. Well, let's talk about Scribner's critic. Scribner challenges Skinner's determinism by arguing that while behavior is influenced by conditioning, individual can still exhibit autonomy through self-reflection, and hence he introduces two types of conditioned individuals to explain his point. The first one is the automatically good man, someone who is fully controlled by reinforcement and lacks any real autonomy. This person behaves in socially acceptable ways, not because they choose to, but because they have been conditioned to do so. In the contrast, the procedurally conditioned man, which we call PCM, has the ability to reflect on experiences and adjust behavior accordingly. Unlike Skinner's deterministic model, the PCM engages in deliberate self-correction and decision-making. And Scribner explains this idea also in his book, and there's a quote, the PCM will be reinforced and blah blah etc. And this quote means that rather than being blindly guided by the past reinforcement, the PCM follows a decision-making process that allows for adaptation and change. And why Scribner is arguing against Skinner? Well, first, if human behavior were purely conditioned, values like cultural survival will lose meaning. Plus, Skinner's theory oversimplifies human cognition and ignoring some essential aspect of decision-making, such as the self-reflection, moral reasoning, and intrinsic motivation. Now let's connect those two perspectives to the movie The Butterfly Effect and analyze how the character's transformation reflects the debate between Skinner's and Scribner's. Yes, let's talk about Kaylee first. In the original timeline, Kaylee is raised in an abusive household with constant negative reinforcement, and so as a result, she develops low self-esteem and remains trapped in a toxic cycle, ultimately leading to her suicide. So does she have autonomy? From Skinner's perspective, the answer is no, because her traumatic past shapes her future behavior entirely, and leaving her with no real choice but respond to her past negative reinforcement. In the alternate timeline, Ivan freaked out Kaylee's dad and got him to stop abusing her. So this change is the positive reinforcement, which lead Kaylee to grow up with confidence and success. And also Kaylee becomes a sorority girl with a happy life. And does this mean she has autonomy? The answer is still no. because her success is entirely due to her improved reinforcement history, not free will. So she is simply responding to a different set of conditions that shape her behavior positively. While in another timeline, Ivan's interference worsens Katie's fate. Um, Ivan gave the ion to Lanny, who was supposed to use that ion to cut Doc's rope to save the dog, but out of Lanny's hatred to Tommy, Lanny used that ion to kill Tommy, leaving Kaylee without her brother and disfigured. And finally, Kaylee becomes homeless and a prostitute and addicted to drugs. In this scenario, does Kaylee have autonomy? The answer is still no. Just as the positive reinforcement helped the happy Kelly to survive, this negative reinforcement pushed this version of her into self-destructive behaviors. So she is not choosing to suffer. She has been conditioned to react this way. Well, now I would like to use the example of Tommy to do a further analysis. In the original timeline, he is violent and aggressive due to his abusive upbringing. Yeah, and when Ivan alters the timeline, Tommy becomes a kind person, and even he becomes a college student. And however, in another timeline, he becomes even more dangerous because after Ivan told his father, stop abusing Kaylee, and you need to pay more attention on Tommy. And so after that, Tommy and Kaylee's father start to abuse Tommy only. So from Skinner's perspective, Tommy's actions are dictated by his reinforcement history as well. And when his past changes, his behavior follows, which reinforcing the idea that human actions are determined by past conditioning rather than the individual free will. So, and speaking of Ivan, he attempts to alter the past reinforcement, and he assumes, by changing history, he can create a perfect timeline. But what is the truth? The truth is that every attempt ultimately leads to an unintended consequences. So even with the knowledge of past reinforcement, Ivan cannot escape conditioning, which proves that free will is an illusion again. While the film ultimately support with Skinner's theory, and Kaylee and Tommy's personality shift are entirely based on environmental reinforcement and showing no autonomy, and Ivan's repeated failures further reinforce that even when given the chance to alter past reinforcements, he cannot create his desired outcome in the final. In this movie, The Butterfly Effect makes me realize while we may feel we have choices, we are always bound by the reinforcements that shapes us. If we were entirely shaped by our past, change would be impossible. But in reality, changes are always happening. So it cannot be denied that our past shapes who we are, but I believe we are not entirely trapped by it, because if our past control everything, personal growth and change will be impossible, right? And moreover, although we cannot erase our past influences, we can adjust how we respond to them. For example, someone who grew up in a negative environment might initially struggle with self-worth, but through self-awareness or other external support, they can break free from the destructive cycles. And the world around us also plays a role. For example, education, healthcare, and life experiences expose us to the new way of thinking. So the fact that people change and improve, these things really shows that we are not just reacting to the past. We have the ability to shape our future. And finally, I would like to say, just like in the movie, Ivan keeps trying to change the past, but every small adjustment leads to a completely different outcome. So this supports Yes, it supports Skinner's idea that reinforcement shapes who we are, but at the same time, Ivan is aware of these changes and keeps like trying to fix things. So it also suggests that we do have some level of control. Maybe true freedom is it's not about like escaping our past, but it's more about like learn how to deal with it in a way that lets us move forward. And I think that's pretty much it. And thank you for watching.